Hi, I'm Mamta Narula, radio host, MC, and storyteller. After 25 years connecting with audiences on EBC radio and at major South Asian events, I'm excited to bring you Moments with Mamta. This podcast shares real conversations about the moments that shape us, stories of growth, grit, and inspiration. Thank you for listening and welcome to Moments with Mamta. All right. So, as every episode of Moments with Mamta has a very interesting story. And the stories are of people who have started from, I think, a dream, worked very hard, pursued their passion, and today are quite successful and they can be motivation and inspiration to others. So Moments with Mamta is all about that. And it's such a pleasure today to have, a bundle of energy who's quite successful, but it's not that he's been given everything on a silver plate. He worked very hard. So it's a pleasure to welcome Bobby Garg on Moments with Mamta. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you, Mamta. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, and really glad and happy to see you today.
I was actually excited in about this conversation. You know, there are some guests I really want to know more about.
Sure.
So what you do today, we will talk later. But tell me, so where are you from? Let's hear from Bobby. Who is Bobby Garg?
So just to obviously go back, like you said, so Bobby Garg is born Indian, obviously in Bombay, which is now Mumbai. So obviously my heart, my soul is still there, but obviously there's a saying, right? Mother birth, the place, and then obviously Karam Bhumi, what we call it, is United States, and obviously, but I am 57 years old, so obviously. Majority, literally, I would say almost close to 35, 36 years now in US. I was only 20 years old when I actually moved to US. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So how was your childhood? Like you were born in Mumbai and you have always been in Mumbai when you were growing up. So
Yeah.
what was your personality like then?
So, my background is Punjabi, obviously a Hindu Punjabi, born and brought up in Bombay. My family so my father's side family migrated from Delhi. Obviously, if you go back in the history, obviously they're from Lahore. And then after partition, moved to Delhi. And then my father was the first one actually to move to Bombay. And that's how he got married in Bombay. My mom is pretty much from Bombay. Bringing up was amazing. As it everybody does. It's fun. You're enjoying because when you're very young, you don't know what's going on, and so obviously it was fun. It was cool. Like I think you brought up about being not given a silver spoon, so on and so forth. So yeah, I can at least say that I was born with a silver spoon, which was great. Obviously, it was really, really good to have that, opportunity while growing up. But definitely, I can say that when I moved here, and practically what made me move here at some point, and which we can get more deep into it, and that wasn't a silver spoon. So
Okay.
obviously, I kind of was born with that, but when I grew up, I realized that it wasn't there anymore. So I had to start from very much as a scratch, you can call, which practically, I'm sure there are many, many like that who can say that and who have many stories like that. Yeah.
So what made you move to US?
I have no idea, and I had no plans. So that's a good one. Good question. A lot of people ask me sometimes. I come across people who say about their dream and about their passion about, oh, they have to be in US is the ultimate. I'll be very honest. I never even thought about US. I never even dreamed in my life, in my 20 years of life, while that I was ever going to go to US. The max I ever thought that, oh, wow, and if given an opportunity after getting married at some point, maybe go to Europe, that's the normal Bombay, India thing, right? You go to Europe, and never ever in my dream, US was on my map. But it really happened just like that, to be very honest. Yeah.
So when you moved here, I'm sure it's a different world. And at that time, when you move and you were 20 some, would have been a challenge, right? To adjust to this country, to not all that facilities or the luxury that you had back home. How was it? Just
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that.
It was a major shock for me. So even though, as I said, I was born with a silver spoon, but unfortunately, my father's business kept going down, which normally in Indian parents don't let the kids know that, right? They feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
letting their kids know, especially in the city and country where we come from, and especially if we had everything going. So so I guess I was one of them who was clueless what's going on, even though I could feel it, I could see it, but I was clueless. And then obviously, to go a little bit more backward, that because we were in Bombay, because my father moved to Bombay, especially because he was a big Bollywood fan. So that made him buy his apartment very, very close to RK Studios, which was in Chembur. And that's where I was brought up, going to the same school which every movie star practically went to, which was OLPS school, which is one of the very well known Catholic school. Every RK family, and be it anybody from Anil Kapoor's and Rishi Kapoor's, and you can name it, and everybody went to the school. And that's what my childhood was. And in all honesty, I literally grew up thinking that I was going to become an actor. I was very diehard. I'm still a big diehard Bollywood fan. But at that time, growing up in my 18, 19-year-old age, I always thought I was going to become a Bollywood, not necessarily a hero or who knows, but I was very much into acting. And I did take acting classes, and all that good stuff in that age. But my mother was very, very against it because my father had lost some money trying to do that, and he was going to produce a movie back in the days, and Meena
Yeah.
Kumar gave a clap and all that stuff. But because she had seen the struggle, she had seen the loss, she saw that, and she really was against it and wanted me not to do that, not to waste my time, so on.
Mhm.
Really talked me out of it. Just like every, honestly, again, now that we are grew older, right, and we look back and we say, that's how our parents were. They were
Yeah.
always, rather than telling us go do whatever, go, they would actually suppress us, like, no, don't do it,
Yeah.
don't try this, don't try that. So long, it was one of those things where I wanted to do something, but I wasn't, maybe not that I want to blame my parents, but I was not really pushed in, like I was pushed out of it, pulled out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And simultaneously, this thing happened where I was sitting with a friend of mine where we were just discussing things, and he knew that I was into Bollywood thing, and he said, again, he also said the same thing, Bobby, you're wasting your time, you're wasting this. Why don't you go to US? So that's how this whole thing started. And he said, I'm like, why? What am I going to do in US? So that kind of fast forward, things happened, visa, all that stuff, which is difficult, but it happened. So maybe it was a destiny that I was destined to make it to the US. But now, obviously, with the bringing up and the Bombay lifestyle, where we had seen pretty much a decent in spite of when you don't have enough money, but still Bombay life is very different, right? You have everything going for you. You have servants, you have, never thought of laundry kon karega, things of that nature, food. I never cooked in my life. And so to your point, getting to US and as soon as landing here and the world changed for me. And the first 6 months, I kept thinking, what did I want to do? And what am I doing? So it was a drastic change to kind of.
I can see from your expressions, it was not a very happy those 6 months for you.
No, no,
Okay.
I was, it was like a disaster to
All
happen.
right.
Yeah, first few days you're excited, you're in America, you land into Miami, and in those days, 1989, landing into Miami was
Wow.
wow. and then flying to Key West. That was my first home, Key West, which is an island. Obviously, that's the only island I believe which is attached main to the mainland America, where you can drive. So obviously, I ended up there, which was so beautiful back in the days. It still is, but it was much prettier back then. And so, first few days, few weeks were fun, but then the reality hit you, and when you feel that okay, you have to work, and you have to work from scratch. You have to be an employee, which I never even had an idea I would have to go through that, and from totally from scratch.
So what used to go in your mind? Did you know that what is going to happen after 6 months, or what are you actually going to do, or things just kept falling for you?
No, I was clueless actually what's going to happen. First 6 months was definitely very difficult. And but then, just like any human, you get used to it. You start getting used to it. You start accepting the fact, right? But as I said, for first year, I was kind of lost. But then things started to sink in, and okay, this is it. So this is what I have to accept it and kind of move. And pretty much, and things kept falling in place. I met some good people. I worked with some good people, obviously, and they gave me a hand. They showed me the way, I should say. And that I've been very fortunate, to be very honest, that I did find and come across the right people in my life. Most of the time, yeah, you always come across few people who are there. They're not, not really helping you, not hurting you either, but not helping you. But then you do come across somebody who really takes your hand and says, okay, Bobby, I'll show you the way. And that's what happened actually. A father figure, I can call him, who I worked for. That was my last job in Florida. And he kind of put that sense in me and kind of showed me the way. And that's how I kept going. And before you know, it was 3 years, 3.5 years, time to go back to India once again after 3 years. And pretty much that's when I got married too.
Okay. So are you still in touch with the person who actually gave you the direction, or who helped you at that time when you actually needed?
So I am in touch with the entire family. Unfortunately, he's no more.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay. So then Bobby gets married and Bobby comes back to US. Then what happens?
So I was so it just he was obviously he was in a jewelry, just like any island. Indians are into the jewelry business and clothing business, retail. I was practically doing that, right? I was working in the jewelry. So after obviously I went to India, came back, and then I get a shock of my life that he is going to retire because he was kind of old and he wanted to retire and get out of the business and completely rest. But still, he was so nice enough to actually offer me that maybe I should buy his store, and he would help me with the payments, whatever. And was willing to give me that hand. But you know what? One thing in my mind at that time was clear that I wanted to get out of there. So Key West was a very, very small island, which we all know, probably living in US. And a guy like me coming from Bombay felt like मुझे jail में डाल दिया है, right? I mean, I'm in a jail, 5 mile radius, and that's it, you're done. So I think that became an opportunity because I felt like, okay, if he's going to sell off, and I said, Uncle, his name was Gidwani, Mr. Gidwani, and I said, Uncle, if that's the case, I think I would like to explore. I would like to get out of here. I would like to go to some other states. And he said, where? I said, New York, New Jersey, because that was the, more not happening necessarily, but job opportunities could be there, right? But again, unfortunately, during those days, the jobs were not that easy. And there was a decline in the job market in those days, which I'm talking in 90, end of 92, 93. But I was destined. I said, no, I think no matter what, I think I'm going to take my chance, even though he was willing to sell me his store, give me the payment plan. So I would be a owner of a retail store, right? And I said, no, I don't think I want to continue my life here because otherwise I'll get stuck. At least that was something in my mind. Then I said, no, let me take a chance. And believe me, I packed my bags. My wife was still in India, obviously, because she was waiting for her visa, green card, and all that. So I packed my bags and everything and just took off on the road, drove 20 hours, and here I land in New York, New Jersey. But by the time I got here, again, Uncle, Mr. Gidwani, was so nice that by the time I got to New Jersey, he made sure that I already had a job.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so then another great person I met, in New Jersey, and he also was in the jewelry, obviously, uh, so, he helped me. Obviously, he gave me a job right away. So that's again, I started my life back again in '93 in New Jersey, in the Garden State Plaza Mall, Bergen Mall, if you all
Okay.
know, in the Bergen County. That's where I started my life. And pretty much then Sunita, my wife, joined me in '94. So
All
that
right.
kind of
So
new life.
what I'm learning about you is that one, you are a risk taker. Second, you're not afraid of too many things. Third, the resilience. Keep moving forward. Is
Yes.
that who Bobby is? Is that a good?
100%, 100%, always. Yeah. Uh, That was without saying, in spite of, as I said, the first few years, I was clueless what's going on, what's happening in my life. Even that time in '93, '94, that I'm doing what I'm doing. Yes. But when it came to taking a risk or taking a next step, yeah, yes, I do get afraid at times. But then I do give a lot of credit to my wife, my partner, who always has pushed me whenever I came into a situation that I want to take those steps, but maybe I'm a little hesitant or afraid, so called. And she has always backed me up and literally even pushed me into it.
So in terms in the times when things are not going your way, right? We all meet failures. So how do you handle those situations?
So yeah, it's been a challenge. So I had my breakdown type of situations many times, and that I'll kind of give you at some, kind of share this. So '94 when my wife joined, and in '95 again we decided that I'm going to go into my business. I'm going to quit my job and actually start my business. And obviously, at that time, I bought a liquor store
Okay.
in '95 in New Jersey. So between me and my wife, whatever we savings we had during those few years, which is hardly anything, but still we managed to somehow buy a liquor store, a small mom and pop liquor store, and start our own new journey now as a business owner. But pretty soon we found out that it was not for me. I kind of felt it that I couldn't see myself as a retailer. It was, again, as I said, coming from that where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and then was pushed into this retail, which I did a job for many years, but then I ended up buying a liquor store, which I felt it wasn't me. Sunita again was helping me a lot. Our both our kids were born actually. One was born in '96, the second one was born in '99. But by that time, I knew one thing very clearly: this is not for me. Again, by '99, I had lost everything pretty much that we thought we saved, and we thought we were a liquor store owner. So I had to get out of there. I had to sell it off at loss, pretty much restart my life again, and start a job with the beer company. And I think that was my turning point.
Okay. Yeah. So that was my next question. What was the turning point? Yes.
So that
So
was my turning point, that losing everything in the liquor store, but still now staying in the liquor industry and the beer industry, beer company who saw me and brought me in. And again, I started as a rep, a sales rep, started selling beer, Budweiser,
all
Heineken,
right.
Stella, so on and so forth. That kind of put me back and kind of gave me another scenario of the business now, from retail to the wholesale, working with a
Hmm.
distributor. And from beer industry, obviously, after working for a few years, I realized that I had capped out on that, meaning
Hmm.
only go so far. So
Hmm.
what's next? And that's when I went into the liquor, the hard liquor industry, and working another distributor, and started selling every brand that you can possibly think of, be it Johnny Walker, Macallan, Glen, California wines, Australian wines, Italian wines, you name it, and I sold it. So that became another journey, which kind of kept me going to the next level and to the next level. And come back to your question that every time there was a breakdown moment, though, because you lose your business, you start from scratch again and go to the beer industry. Leaving the beer industry was another tough one for me because I wanted to grow, I wanted to do better, and I kind of became stagnant in beer. But I felt like, okay, I'm in a comfort zone. And believe me, at that time, I think I give a lot of credit to my wife again that she pushed me. She said, Bobby, it will happen. Do it. Don't worry. It will happen. So honestly, I felt like I let go of my good income job, so called, you know. And even at that time when I was leaving, so my boss at the time in the beer company did tell me that, Bobby, don't worry. As much as I know you, you're only going to go forward in your life. And that one thing he told me that last day, that he said, Bobby, remember one thing: when you're in a race, like when you actually are ready to race, not in a race with somebody, but you're ready to race and you want to go forward, what do you normally do? You take one step back. You
True.
actually take one step back. You stand in a position that you actually take the one step back because you want to go forward. So that thing stuck in my head. He's right. Every time you have to go forward, you have to go a little back. So that stuck in my mind because going from a job which was secured, I jumped into a liquor industry which had no salary. So you're only on commission. So I had to
Yeah.
start from scratch. So there was a lot of times was ups and downs and frustrations and the fear that actually kept making me stronger and stronger and stronger to deal with the situations that try to come to that point.
At any point, did you feel like let's give it up? Ho gaya. Not, no more.
Uh, Actually, many times it happens, right? Sometimes you do feel that way. You feel a little frustrated. But one good thing was about me, and it still is, that at times if I go to bed with that thought, kabhi kabhi ho jata hai, but when I wake up, I'm start
Yeah.
from back. So my wake up is always new start.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's something to learn, right? People who are struggling, wanting to do something of their own, right? सबके इतने सारे सपने हैं,
Yeah.
but people, and most of us are very scared to even pursue something. And here you are, up and down, changing professions, retail to business, now a big business owner. It's been quite a journey. So there's so much to learn. I'm just from listening to you. So then you became a wholesaler, a distributor.
Well, so I was working for obviously
Okay.
I was
Okay.
working for a liquor distributor for quite some time, which I was very, very happy, because obviously now you're in that industry where it's giving me so many perspectives, right? From a liquor store retailer to working with a beer distributor,
Mm.
now going into a liquor distribution that you're working with all these brands from all over the world you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
selling those and working with those suppliers who are coming from Scotland, from Australia, from Italy, from France, and you're working with them day in, day out. So I do give a lot of credit to these companies who hired me. I was able to learn that industry so well. Again, a lot of good people that came on the way that kind of gave me that hand, taught me the
Mm.
business, taught me the industry. And I'll give one thing. I'll just say, not to disrespect any culture, or and not to
Yeah.
what, two people in my life, two nationalities, or you can call it the cultural, whatever the
Okay.
background, that have always been a plus in my life, even though I'm a Punjabi, obviously. But I've always done well with the Sindhis, uh,
Oh,
because I worked with the Sindhis from day one in the US. My wife is a Sindhi. My best friend is a Sindhi.
yeah.
uh, I could literally go on that they have always given me a lot of hand, and I have a lot of always positivity. So they are very helping people. You know,
Well, your best partner is Sindhi,
my
so
best
that
partner. That's what I
explains.
said. My wife is a Sindhi. My best
Yeah,
friend is a Sindhi,
and they are
and
like
the
business.
other national community which I feel from day one gave me a hand was Jewish community.
Oh,
So they have been very nice to me from day one because all these companies I work for were owned by Jewish, and
mm,
they were always very nice. And I think they appreciate people who are hardworking, who they can see it. They can see
yeah.
it. I think Jewish people can see it. They know exactly what you will looking to do, what the passion you have. They can
Right, right.
and that helped me a lot because they never took against or negatively because want to get to the point where uh, I think when I was at the peak of my career, doing extremely well, you know, that I thought, wow, because I remember the days, and again, not to really bring numbers up, but believe me, it's a big feeling, right? Jab you start from a scratch where you started maybe from $5 an hour, you know, and
Yeah.
when you start growing, and I remember because my wife being a real estate agent, right, realtor for many, many years, and she has done well. And when I still remember when I saw, and this is credit going to my wife, obviously, because when I first time saw her like a W-2 and I see six figures on it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm happy for her. And I remember telling her, oh my God, I don't think I will ever be able to make that kind of money, because I'm I'm nobody, and I still remember that day that when she took me in front of the mandir area we have had in the house, and she put her right arm on the God, and obviously put that same hand on my head and said, "You will always make more than six figures in your life."
Oh,
And
that's so
and
beautiful. That's so
that
lovely.
day and today, I cannot think of anything else but that day that she said that you know so that kind of those are the things keeps me going, like the I always think about positivity whenever I'm down also, then I will either listen to something positive
Mm.
constantly, or watch some positive movies or dialogues, again Bollywood,
Right,
be going
yeah.
at times, and I just love it because that keeps pumping me
Of
up.
course, we all have that something, right? That keeps
Yeah,
us going.
and
Yeah.
and to kind of connect where how I got into this business.
Yes,
So
yes.
obviously, at the peak of my career, that I had nothing to really think of, and I could have still be doing that if I did not get into this. And I kept thinking, okay, what's next? Because that's always my problem. What's next? And I got this far, and what's next? I want to keep growing. I want to keep growing. So that's when, believe it or not, I'm about 30,000 feet in the sky in the flight because I used to go to India twice a year. And at times I would be alone. Obviously, for 2 weeks. I'm in the flight thinking to myself, and this is about 2010, 2011, that I said to myself, now what's next? What am I going to do next? अब यहाँ तक तो पहुंच गए, and then also something came into my mind. What can I do that is going to connect me to my motherland back again? What can I do something that might connect me, and I can hopefully my kids will be able to travel more to India at some point, and we kind of reconnect. So the
Right.
connection with India should never break for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that being said, while I'm in that flight for 15 and a half hours, before I landed, I found my next, kick. And
The
that
next big project.
Yeah, and that kick was that I have been in the industry and selling every alcohol possibly I could from around the world. But guess what? The only thing which nobody was ever focusing was on the Indian products, the Indian whiskeys, the Indian vodkas, and so on and so forth. So that became my next gig, and I was looking and start looking for what will I do, what will I bring from India that can come in the liquor industry, and start my company. So it took me a year or two to get that going, and I found a vodka brand from India. Again, a very, very big company named Radico Khaitan.
Okay.
Uh, they, obviously, if you Google or anybody will Google, they know what I'm talking about. A major distiller, one of the biggest in the Asia, and obviously India's biggest, probably. So, again, another friend of mine who showed me the way, who knew them and kind of introduced me to them. And that's how the whole story started. And I think I was ready to quit my job again and
Yeah.
again drop down to the bottom and start all over again.
That is just simply amazing कि आपको डर ही नहीं लगा. You thought of something and you just did it. You worked towards that, made your connections, right? And just started and you left that one paycheck, right? That everybody's so close to.
I was afraid, I will not lie to you. I was very afraid. My family was very afraid because, believe me, that was a very, very good paying job. Not too many people can make that kind of money in the sales if they don't know. And I was very proud and happy and very thankful again to these company owners who always believed in me. So, yeah, it was scary. It was scary, but one thing again, positivity that came in my mind, and it actually took me back 25 years at that time.
Hmm.
This is
What
10
was
years
that?
ago, 12 years ago, I'm talking about. And the reason I bring that up, and I still remember my mom is no more. She just passed away this year. But at the time, obviously, she was around. And I remember my parents were also like, "Oh, are you sure, beta? Are you really going to do this? You have such a great job. Everything is going good in your life. Do you really want to take this?" And I kind of, not to disrespect and not to, but I learned from that. And I told my mother, I still remember on the phone, and I said, "Mummy, aapko yaad hoga, if you remember what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an actor. But you talked me out of it. You told me, nay, beta, I should not, this, that, is that. And that kind of pushed me. And I totally diverted my life totally to the opposite side. I had no clue what I was doing. And here I am 25 years later. Finally, I find a gig that, because while I was growing up, while I was going to college, I used to take the import export classes and all that good
Oh,
stuff, right? So I remember those days that where I used to always say, acting, or if I want to be in a business where I can be importing, exporting, like I think about all that. But that got lost somewhere in,
mm-hmm.
right? So when this whole thing came back to me and I remembered and I said, okay, you know what? Now I feel that deep inside me, something tells me that I need to go into this. Finally, I
Mm.
found something again, finally, that I really, really, really want to do. And that's when I told my mother and reminded her that you talked me out of something, but this time I'm going to do it. And I told my family also, my wife, my kids, two boys grown up. And I still remember I sat them down in the living room and I told them, I said, listen, I'm going to do this. I know it's a risk. I know, when you have such a great job,
Yeah, yeah.
but believe me, somewhere that said to me that I'm going to do it. And I told my family that, please, if I fail, don't yell at me, don't scream at me, because that made me realize one thing, that when I've heard of men, especially men of the whole household, where they do a lot, and sometimes they really try, and they don't make it. And when families get upset, or wife, kids, when they trash him for, what did you do? You had everything going
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So I feel that's where I feel sometimes they get broke and they're disheartened, and वो कहते हैं ना, वो डूब जाते हैं, like
Yeah, yeah. बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
they lose themselves, they become alcoholics, or they,
Yeah.
whatever, they just. So I kind of, that put me into that head, and I told my family, please don't do that to me, because I'm going to try. I'm going to try very hard, and I think I'm going to try my best to make this happen. But I feel I want to do this. So I think my wife was always supportive. So that was a given. So just to kind of go back to that. So
Yeah, one thing is for sure clear that Sunita has played a very big role in
yes,
who you are or where you are today. What is your relation with your boys? Are
very
you a
good.
very open-minded parent that karo jo karna chahte ho, or you're very strict, just like your parents had some
No,
rules?
no rules. So we have been very, very positive with our kids always. There was never And I'll be honest, that was always something Sunita handled more. If even if they knew, I mean, they were wrong or something they shouldn't do, I think Sunita was more of that personality, right? That वो प्यार भी उतना ही दिखाएगी and गुस्सा भी उतना ही करेगी. Matter of fact, गुस्सा थोड़ा ज्यादा करेगी, obviously. And so, but at the same time, I'm a little bit softer. Even if I have to say something to them, I won't really yell and scream. But again, deep down, as I said, as now that you know where I'm coming from, I felt always that whatever they want to do, if it's the right thing to do, let them do it. Let them try it. Let them go for it. Everything that I felt that, not that I was deprived, I was never deprived of anything, but do it. Yeah, but they have grown up to be really, really. Their head is on their shoulder. They understand the hard work we have gone through. They've understood the ups and downs they have seen in our life. कभी पैसे होते हैं, कभी नहीं भी होते हैं. So they've seen it all. And even more in the last 10 years, because now that they have grown, right?
Yeah.
I have a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old. So both the boys have seen the journey, understood at that age, at that time of their age. So I know for a fact that they actually appreciate a lot. Sometimes they might not say it with the words, but I could feel it. I could feel that appreciation.
Okay, so SG Worldwide. Now, what is the future of SG Worldwide and which direction is it going?
So yeah, it's going great. We started off with a vodka called Magic Moments from Radical Khaitan. Obviously we launched some of their whiskeys, the blended whiskeys, the rum, the gin, Jaisalmer gin has been doing extremely well. Obviously, the turning point again that came in my life with SG Worldwide was Rampur Indian single malt whiskeys that I proudly display on my pocket.
I see that. I see that in many places also, in restaurants also. So yeah, it's everywhere.
Rampur became my turning point of SG Worldwide's turning point. And obviously, I always feel my reward of hard work with all these years. So obviously that was the reward that the acceptance in the United States for the Rampur and worldwide, obviously, was excellent, and that put us back on the map. And today Rampur is flying high. I can very proudly say Rampur is the Macallan of India, basically. And then there are many more brands that are coming on board. Very recently, Radico made an announcement. Mr. Abhishek Khaitan, who is the managing director of Radico Khaitan, joined hands with SRK, Shah Rukh Khan. And, Shah Rukh Khan has a very, very great brand called Diavol that is going to be launched very, very soon. We are in the process of doing that. They have a vodka brand called Diavol. They have a scotch from Scotland. And they're also bringing in tequilas from Mexico. So there's a lot going on. And also, again, like I always said, that there's always something in me that what's next. So we started a company called SG Worldwide. It's an import company. We import alcohol into US. We import into Canada. We also started Puerto Rico. But yeah, there was something missing, which was maybe start doing our own private labels in America, the US brands. So obviously,
awesome.
I'm known for importing Indian brands. So obviously, SG Worldwide is very much known that we have Indian products. But now because of SRK, we will also be launching Scotch from Scotland, vodka from Poland, and tequila from Mexico. So obviously, what was missing was America, US. That is near and dear to my heart as well, because that's what gave me today what I am. So my 35 years of hardship, working. So finally I felt like, okay, so maybe I could have my own portfolio, which is American, US product. And
beautiful.
So we last year in December, we started our first product under my name. Obviously, now that came from majority of the bourbon brands, bourbon whiskeys are named after the owners. And obviously, more than the owner, I felt like Bobby. Bobby is my born name, obviously. So I felt Bobby is a very American name. I think there's nothing more American than Bobby because Bobby is Robert. Robert
Right.
is Bobby.
Right.
And every American household has a Bobby because they have
Hmm.
Bob or Robert. So I
Right.
think that kind of became like, okay, I have to make a brand with the name of Bobby. So not necessarily because it's my name, but you know, and that's why we launched Bobby Garg's bourbon in December, which is doing extremely well. We have already sold about 12,000 bottles in the last 6 months.
Amazing. Congratulations.
And Mamta, I'm very proud to say because just 10 minutes before our interview was going to start, so we did receive a gold medal in December in New York for Bobby Garg's bourbon, the very first month we launched. And just 10 minutes ago, I found out that we received a double gold in California.
Oh my
Just
God.
10 minutes before this
Applause.
interview. So definitely,
I'm the first one to know then.
yes, you are. You are the one to
Many
know.
congratulations. Many
Besides my
congratulations.
wife, because my wife.
Well, she will always be number one. Everybody else will be after her. That we know.
So yeah, so we are. I haven't even had a chance to really discuss that with my team and really
Yeah.
start,
Amazing.
sharing with our distributors. So yeah, we are very excited. The bourbon is really good. You should try it when you get a chance. And we are also obviously expanding that portfolio. And the name given by my wife, actually, she was the one who said that obviously, again, it's going to be Bobby under Bobby, but she decided that I should name it as Lord Bobby.
Oh yeah. All right. So Lord
Yeah.
Bobby,
So
awesome.
there's going to be another bourbon coming out, which is going to be Indiana based. Again,
Okay.
American,
Okay.
obviously, and we're going to go directly to the working class, core American consumer with that. So you should be able to see that in next 90 days being launched.
And so where do people buy these? Which liquor stores? Any specific, or they are like easily available?
So obviously we're just starting off, so it's still early. Obviously, you can definitely. It's always easy to go online and find them because it's not going to be available everywhere yet. We're going to start off in New York, New Jersey area, and then expand into. We're already in 30 states as far as my distribution goes, SG worldwide distribution goes, which is practically entire country, East Coast,
Hmm.
West Coast. But that being said, every new product requires time. It kind of takes a few years before you can spread out. Now, again, not necessarily going to find us in every store. We're not yet the Johnny Walkers of the world or
Right. Right.
or
Right.
Moet
Right.
Hennessy. It's funny that every party I go to, and I do get asked that question. Oh, I don't see you everywhere. I don't see products everywhere. And I always joke with them. I said, have you ever met Johnny Walker owners or Macallan owners, Bacardi owners?
uh,
And they go,
well, that.
no. You know who they are? I said, no. I said, you know what? Take advantage because you know me. Because the day my products are everywhere, it's going to be difficult for you to meet me. It's a joke.
Obviously, I'm going to take your autograph. But on that note, I'm going to say one thing, that if I have known you, whatever percentage, you're a very well grounded, well balanced person, no matter how much you have grown. So your core, your basics, you have not forgotten. You're a very simple person. You're not a complicated person. So that, to me, that is the beauty of your personality, right? So work is one thing, but your personal relationships, your friendships, they have all been with you and you value them a lot. So to me, a complete person, a family man whose wife stands right at the top, and then obviously the boy. So it is commendable. I mean, I say this for Shah Rukh Khan because I've had a pleasure of talking and meeting and knowing him quite a bit. So I see that in him a lot. There is that personal aspect, the professional, we all know where he stands, but he is not lost where he came from. And I really, really, truly respect those people. So, Bobby, it was absolute pleasure. Wish you all the best to many, many more gold awards and platinum awards for you. And all the best to Lord Bobby. I look forward
Thank
to
you.
tasting
Thank
that
you
soon.
so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining me on Moments with Mamta. If today's conversation inspired you, please follow, share, and stay connected for more meaningful stories. Until next time, this is Mamta signing off.